And if we don't find that same courage, we'll find that the government finds it easier and easier to push us around, as we'll see in our final story. Because according to the Christian Post, a Catholic hospital can't refuse to remove the uterus of a trans-identified patient, a judge ruled. A federal court ruled the University of Maryland St. Joseph Medical Center broke the law by refusing to remove the uterus of a trans-identified patient due to the religious beliefs of the institution, which is committed to Catholic principles while also being a part of the public medical system. So let me just get this straight. They've made it almost impossible to survive because of the exorbitant rates that Big Pharma is charging and that the government has worked out with Big Pharma. They made it almost impossible to exist as a medical institution outside of the U.S. medical system. And then, by being a part of that U.S. medical system, the government can then therefore demand that you remove the uterus from a perfectly healthy woman because she tells you she's a man. So that's where we're at as a society today. Now, this is not a person who needed a hysterectomy. This is not a person who had some type of cancerous tumor or some issue that necessitated this surgery. This is a person who had some type of gender dysphoric or social contagion affecting their brain, making them think that they are a man, and wanted this Catholic hospital to remove their uterus, her uterus. So there's no mistake. Now, taking a step back from this story, we were reliably informed, especially with the Respect for Marriage Act, that this is just about consenting adults doing what they want to do in their own homes and being able to marry each other and have that kind of special tax privileges that really should only come to married couples because they're the ones who are procreating and creating more children, and the ones who are actually feeding into the economy by creating more children. So those tax breaks and those kind of benefits that came to married couples for creating children, we just want those even though we can't create children. That's what we were told that this was all about. The Respect for Marriage Act and the ability for homosexual people to marry who they want to marry. This is just a freedom of conscience issue. And hey, this is America after all. This has nothing to do with us shoving our left-wing gender ideology down your throat, except when it comes to the fact that they have been doing this constantly since we've been having this debate. This slippery slope is obvious. And so, as we can see in cases like the Colorado cake baker, and yet again in this Catholic hospital, those who are committed to the progressive agenda, the postmodern ideology, don't really just want to kind of do their own thing. They don't really just want to live and let live. They don't want to you do you and I'll do me. Because here's what they want to do. They want to force you to violate your constitutional rights and to violate your conscience. That's what they're really after at the end of the day. These people are hell-bent on a cultural agenda that will force you to do what you want. So whatever happened to freedom? Not only the freedom to be able to conscientiously object, which I hope this hospital does anyway, regardless of the consequences, but to the freedom to association, which this is a problem too, right? As an American, you should be able to associate with whoever you want to associate with without the government telling you you can't do that. This is not really even a libertarian argument. This is a constitutional argument because libertarians kind of get their panties in a bunch whenever the government's involved. But they're kind of hypocrites in this way. Libertarians want the government involved. Unless you're an anarchist, which very few people are, because when you call 911, you want the police to answer, right? So very few people are truly libertarian in the sense that they want to be totally free from the government. And in the same way, we don't want to be totally free from the government, but we don't want the government shoving their left-wing gender ideology down the throats of a Catholic hospital. But nonetheless, it may be incumbent upon this hospital to do exactly that and just to say, damn the U.S. medical system, we will do as we wish and as we please. I don't know the implications of that, but I do know the implications of a society that consistently lets the government tell them what to do when it concerns health. But seeing this in all the stories that we've covered today is enough to make you wish that we lived in a time where before we started talking about gender-affirming care, before we told people that all of their issues could be solved with a surgeon's knife. And so it leaves us asking the question, what in the world is going on? Why is all of this happening, and what can we do about it? See, I think this is why. Christianity is the greatest threat against totalitarianism, and the totalitarians of our age know it, so they try to remove it as much as possible so that you'll be way more susceptible to their lies. And that's the point. They want to make us so desperate that we will look to them for the solution. Now, most scholars believe this is exactly what happened with Hitler in Germany, that the crushing weight of World War I left Germans so desperate for answers, so desperate that they would even look to a madman. So tell me that's not the prescription for the modern progressive that thinks a man can get pregnant. See, Marx said this. He said, religion is the sigh of the oppressed creature, the heart of a heartless world, and the soul of soulless conditions. It is the opium of the people. And the abolition of religion as the illusory happiness of the people is the demand for their real happiness. In other words, if you get rid of religion, you'll make people truly happy. But religion will never make them happy. So let me ask you a question for those of you who have abided by this prescription. How you doing? How has the removal of religion, the removal of Christianity, the removal of belief in God actually helped you? Suicide rates are soaring, and parentless single-parent homes are rising in number. People are looking for gender-affirming butcher shops in order to pursue the illusion of happiness that will never come with a surgeon's knife. And fear-mongering climatologists are convinced that the best way to issue forth their agenda to fragilely minded people is to scare the daylights out of them by telling them, in 5 years, the world will be destroyed simply because of cow farts. The reason society is in decline is that we are constantly rejecting truth. We are constantly rejecting the Bible and the God who created it. The more we move away from it, the worse things will get. So if religion is the opium of the people, boy, we sure could use another hit. I'm encouraging each and every one of you to remember times gone by and to at least challenge yourself with this truth, even if you don't consider yourself a Christian. Were things better in the past than they are now, at least just in terms of the way in which we treated each other, the way in which culture is, and the way in which our society, the direction it was headed. If you find that we're in societal decline, it's time we started being really super honest with ourselves. It's time we started realizing that there really is only one cure, and it's a return to the God who made us and the God who can change us so that we don't continue to do the false definition of insanity. Do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So seek Him while you still can and while we still have the opportunity. And though things weren't perfect in 2004, maybe there's some things back there that we could bring into the present. So you just got done watching a small excerpt of a much larger episode. You can find the link to that full episode down below in the description of this video. So you definitely need to check that out, because if you like that clip, you'll like the much larger episode. And while you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and click that little bell to be notified when great new episodes of Indie Thinker come your way. Thanks for watching.